All right, ladies and gentlemen of SpeedGaming 3, welcome to another fantastic match of the Super Metroid multi-category tournament, round number 5. We have another treat for you this evening, a match between Maniacal and Kishmo doing reverse boss order, and at minimum, I think this is at least our third reverse boss order of the day. The previous two of the day were very competitive and very interesting. I think this one will be too. Joining me tonight on commentary is none other than Tracy M. How are you, Tracy?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to another reverse boss war. Looking forward to doing this one with you because you know more about this category than I do. So I'll get to rely a little more on your expertise and in the past. So this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be cool. We've talked about this pretty extensively in almost every RBO race, but one of the cool things about RBO that I like in terms of watching it as a race is that there are probably more ways to do it than just about any other category. We've already seen a ton of runners take totally different routes, get totally different loadouts. You know, double Norfair, double Meridia, 30 super missiles, 25 super missiles. It'll be interesting to see what they do. So this should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. I never know for sure what route people are going to take. Although I do know, I do expect, we saw Maniacal when he did RBO a couple weeks ago. One of the few people that is likely not going to face GT in his RBO route. And in this week being kind of a Golden Chorizo week, not quite the same as the second week of the season when everybody was guaranteed to face Golden Chorizo given the categories of that week. Maniacal says, you know what? I can get 30 missiles, 30 supers without GT. I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, honestly, I like the play. Generally speaking, if a player is going to do early Meridia at all, I feel like it's a better decision to just not go to GT.
Yeah, I like it
If
too.
you're going to take the time to go up there, I feel like you might as well get all the supers and then not have the. It's not really about time, it's more about the volatility. GT adds a significant amount of volatility to it. Not only for the fight, but also you have to make it to the Ridley save after the fight. And sometimes if you screw up, you got to start over and you lose a ton of time. So
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, RBO being like every other category, we do have to start Series Station.
that's right. This is also a big matchup. Both these players are 2-2, and they will be facing each other for the right to have a shot at the play-in next weekend. If you end up at the end of this Swiss portion at 4-2 after 6 weeks, you should still be eligible for the play-in race. However, if you end at 3-3 or below, you will not be. So whoever wins will be alive. Whoever loses will technically be out for the playoffs, but we'll still have a great Week 6 match coming up.
Yeah, we've had a lot of really good races given that situation. It's been a lot of fun this weekend. That's Swiss has its problems, but the beauty of Swiss is the further along we go, the closer and closer the matchups get.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier, I commentated the first RBO match of the day, and I just got done about an hour ago watching the second. And I'm not kidding you. Both races ended up being like in the same room at the same time, like as deep as like Batwoon. It was very, very interesting. In fact, one of them even ended like it was still competitive all the way through Torian. Actually, both of them were.
I
So
was say the second one, I believe they were both in the escape at the same time. So,
yeah, they were. So of
so I
course,
mean, you
even
can't
if
ask
you're
for
there,
much more
that's
than that.
still like a minute plus. But still, that's fairly close for an hour and 30 minutes or whatever. Obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what Kish does. I know, like I said, I've seen Maniacal run RBO. I believe I commentated his first RBO race. I'm not as familiar with what Kish is going to do for his RBO route. So it's going to be really interesting to see what routing choices he makes.
Yeah, Kish is an interesting sort of discussion point for this match and this tournament. We'll have plenty of time to talk about RBO. Let's just talk about the tournament for a minute. Kish, unless I'm mistaken, was the 8th seed at the beginning of this thing. Maybe he was in the top 10. Unfortunately, took a loss in week 1 due to a forfeit, meaning he
Week
never
2.
even got to race.
Yeah, in week 2, a little bit of a time zone snafu with Europe and the U.S. not doing daylight savings time. at the same time. Thank you, governments.
Right. So he's at 2-2, but technically, I guess he's 2-1 in his actual like play matches. And again, he was a top 10 seeded player, so he's obviously very high quality player. Maniacal, also a gifted speedrunner. He started off his Super Metroid adventures kind of doing 100% a long time ago, but has since, he's got a good 80% time. He's done all the categories, and he's a very well-known rando player, not only in terms of Super Metroid, but also SMZ3. Looks like both are doing the same thing. They're going to go down and get this safety tank. I'm a big fan of the play, especially if you're not, accustomed to running RBO. One thing I'll say. Oh, go ahead, Tracy.
I like that this not only gives you safety towards the end of the run as we do the lower Norfair part, but this also gives you that extra tank for the early upper Norfair hell runs. Those being the minimum needed without any kind of drop luck are 2 E-tanks and 1 reserve, and that's still pretty tight. So now they'll be able to have at least 3 E-tanks and 1 reserve.
That's right. And one thing I was going to mention here, and you guys can take or leave, obviously, anything that I say, but I will tell you this: I do have a lot of experience running this category in a variety of routes. This category punishes small errors, unlike any other category. And so anytime a runner, especially in the case of these two guys who don't, traditionally do a ton of RBO, anytime you can do anything to mitigate that a bit, even if you're investing time to do so, I think it's a good investment. Usually when it comes to runners like this, who are not like running RBO all the time, it's not even really about who, runs quote unquote the fastest time. It's really just more of like who survives the best.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen, several of these RBO races coming down to like who gets through Ridley first, and you might have a big lead going into Ridley, but then your opponent comes in and kills Ridley faster, and then moves on, and you're still there. And that's the kind of thing that can happen. And Ridley, you're talking about those small mistakes. That's one of those places, Ridley, and of course the room right before that. There are a lot of small mistakes that a runner can make that'll just absolutely punish you.
That is very true. I've said this on almost every commentary, and I mean, you're obviously referencing this too. It's just like, it's hard to explain to people unless they've run the category a lot how different it is. When you're running any percent or something like that, 99% of the mistakes you make are time losses only. The same kind of mistake that you wouldn't even think twice about in an 80% run, just like, oh, I lost half a second, could be death in this. So it's very brutal, very brutal.
Okay, let's get through Bomb Treezo here. Okay. Oh, and I just realized they also each took the extra missile pack.
Yeah, they went ahead and grabbed the beta missiles. I think that's a fine pickup. I think you mentioned it in one of the commentaries recently, Tracy, about how depending on what kind of Ridley fight you want to have, there are different options for missile collection, but you still want to be careful because if you're going to fight Golden Torizo, you don't really want to go over that 30 threshold.
Yep.
Because he can, start doing his other attack and it gets more complex, and I could go on and on, but we'll see what kind of fight they want to have and how many missiles they want to collect. I think the traditional wisdom of the day is to collect less missiles and instead get Spazer to go with your wave and ice beam and substitute some charge shots. But if you get 30 supers before you go into Lower Norfair, you don't even have to shoot any extra shots. So we'll see what they decide to do.
Yeah, and we might see Maniacal pick up more missiles just because I don't see him going to GT, as we talked about earlier. So he wouldn't have to worry about that. That's the tough part, is that fight becomes infinitely harder if your missile count is above. Really, it's actually the number is 32, but really, you want to have 30 missiles or less so you have no chance of going over that 32 threshold.
Yeah, when it comes to people who are like newer to the category, this is my personal recommendation. I would still personally recommend getting at least 30, even if you're not going to fight GT,
Hmm.
because with all the crystal flashing and stuff you have to
Yep.
do, it makes the missile portion of your management later down the line
Hmm.
something that you don't have to think about nearly as much, and you can survive a lot of like unfortunate drop situations.
Yeah, the missile drops are not as plentiful down in Lower Norfair, so sometimes can be hard to farm those missiles back up if you use them. If you get below that 10 number and need that crystal flash.
The thing about it is like this is gonna sound kind of weird, but like the more advanced of a run you try to put together for RBO, it's not only more advanced execution, it's actually more like you have to use more of your brain power, because the ammo management and energy management and
Hmm.
just sheer knowledge of all the different numbers in all these different circumstances is actually pretty vast. And so with a new runner, you want them thinking as little as possible.
Hmm.
So it's just better to overcome that by getting extra items than it is to try to learn all the numbers on the fly.
Okay, getting that charge beam. Uh, Gonna probably head over to Norfair now. We'll see if either one of them decides to get early power bombs. That's a choice that some runners will make. And so far, seeing some pretty good sync here.
Yeah, they've been synced up for several rooms here. This is about as close as it gets.
And they are both going to go for the early alpha power bombs.
Yeah, and usually, I mean, again, I'm talking about more advanced stuff, but if you're going to go this route, it's usually better to try to refill or to fill up your reserve up here in the Hellway with certain farm strats, as opposed to waiting later to go down to the bugs. So we'll see if either runner does that. If not, it's not a huge deal, but it would be faster to farm here as opposed to farming at the traditional place if you did not get early power bombs.
Yeah, it looks like Kish is going to go ahead and farm right away. We'll see if Maniacal farms on his way out to get that reserve tank full.
Little known fact, or at least I didn't know for a long time. Tracy, you probably know, but I'll ask anyway. Did you know, or were you aware that those Zebos, I think, whatever they're called, that come out, the little green bugs, if they take 2 pea shooter shots to kill,
Yes.
if you shoot it one time and it goes off screen, then technically the game will remember that, and the next Zebo that comes up only takes 1 shot to kill.
I did not know that. I
Yeah,
learned something.
yeah,
That's
it's
really
got to
cool.
come from the same plant though.
All right. So Maniacal looks like Maniacal didn't do the farming ahead of time, so he'll have to find another spot to do that.
I don't really know why it does that. I find it kind of fascinating, but yeah, it looks like Maniacal's gonna grab this Spazer now. Once again, as I pointed out earlier, it looks like Maniacal is a little bit ahead, but he actually, by my calculation, should be 15, 20, maybe more seconds behind, because he not only does he not have anything in his reserve, he also um, doesn't even have his energy tank filled. However, given the fact that he does have the extra tank, if he wanted to play it a little aggressive here, he could just go down and get the high jump tank and not
Yep.
farm, and then just kill a few Sovas and get a little extra. He would still have more than the traditional Hell Run
Yep.
would have. But it just depends on how aggressive he wants to do it, and it looks like that is going to be what he does. Interesting.
All right. As I remind myself, they can't go to. Well, they could go over that way if they wanted to. It would be kind of silly. We don't want to kill Kraid right now. It's like, oh, they're going down the elevator. Wait a minute. Okay, picking up that energy tank. Getting the all important high jump boots. Definitely don't want to go down to Lower Norfair without a suit, without high jump boots.
I think personally, if I were Maniacal, I would not collect the high jump boot missiles, and instead I would go up using the power bomb, but I would also kill the Sova and try to collect its drop. But it looks like he's going to jump up and grab these these missiles. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll kill a few Sovas, then run into the save room and then kill a few more on the way up. We'll see.
The Sofas often give those big energy drops, so it's not a terrible place to farm, but it is a lot slower than what Kishmo was doing earlier.
Yeah, the problem with Sovas, and I actually learned this the hard way, and it's actually being demonstrated right now a little bit, is that, and my apologies, but this is going to take a second. So technically, the drop tables for enemies, some enemies only have items on their drop table. And so if there is, let's say, a big energy and super missile, well, you're guaranteed to get one or the other. And if you're full on super missiles, for example, it'll push that to energy. Sovas actually have a part of their table that is called nothing.
Ah,
And
yes.
so whenever you're full on something, half of the other thing you're full on gets pushed to nothing. So sometimes you can be full on like missiles and still get nothing from the Sovas. So,
Yeah, and those Sofas proving me wrong for bad luck for Maniacal. Almost all of the drops he got were small energy drops.
yeah, the Sovas are not overly reliable, but
No.
looks like Kish and Maniacal so far are having a decent hell run here. I would prefer for Maniacal to activate the. Ooh boy, that's
Oh, that's not
not
gonna
good.
work. Oh, he
Ooh.
almost still made it. Yeah, unfortunately, not popping those reserves himself means that you're going to lose more energy as those you don't have iframes when the reserve tank fills you up, and so you're losing energy at the same time you're gaining it. And he didn't pause in time to do that, so he's gonna have to try it again. Maybe he'll get better luck on these energy drops.
Yeah, if he just hadn't run into that seahorse, he would have been, or I guess dragon, I think is the correct term. He would have been fine, but he still would have been in better shape, I think, to use the reserve manually.
All right, Kishmo gonna head over towards his speed booster. Yeah, and this room that Maniacal's in right now is the dangerous room in this part of the Hell Run. And he does get through the second time. The other rooms are fairly easy to get through, but that third room, don't like this help for going through into the.
Yeah, this is a really bad situation. This is going to be exceptionally slow. I would not attempt going up here with 55 energy.
Yeah, I think maybe
And
he's
the
rethinking
problem
that.
is if he reloads up here, first of all, this is going to drop that CAC is going to drop a super most of the time unless he's in health bomb range. And then if you go through the heated room, you're going to take some damage every time. This is going to end up being sort of exponentially slow. But he is getting some decent drops. Now, 107 should be good enough, but I would still recommend for him to save here just to make sure.
No, he's not going to take the save. He already knows he's a little bit behind, so that could be why he's choosing not to. Looks like Kish is going to save in between the Speed Booster Hell Run, the Wave Beam Hell Run. The Wave Beam Hell Run being the other really difficult one, definitely harder than the Speed Booster one.
Okay, he's in good shape now. Another underrated thing, it doesn't happen super frequently, but it absolutely can happen. You can literally die even getting up there on time if the bugs drop a really poor distribution of energy. Let's say they drop 4 missiles and 1 small energy, you can get up there in time and still die. So I'm glad it didn't happen to Maniacal there. He was able to get 2 good drops in a row, and now he's in perfectly fine shape.
And you want to talk about why one might use bombs here to farm like Maniacal's doing right now instead of just using the beam?
Yeah, it's a little bit faster. Obviously, in the RBO situation, time is money, if you will. I guess to put it more equally, time is energy. The longer it takes you to farm, the more you have to farm. And so, if you do the bombs correctly, you'll kill all of the creatures at the same time, and you'll kill them like basically just as they're regenerating. There's a nice rhythm to it, and so you end up saving a lot of energy over the course of. Kish, please, dude. Oh my gosh. Anyway, you end up saving some significant time, and that's what you want to do, especially when you're trying to refill your reserve. But that last little room on the way out from the wave run there is a doozy. You got to be really careful in there. If they had the normal loadout, Kish would have definitely not survived that.
Yeah, that is the other tough early hell run. Okay, I'm gonna guess Kish is gonna do early Croc here since he's farming up some more, because otherwise he could just run out and come back when he's cleaned up Criteria Brinstar.
Correct. Also, and again, I'm not criticizing any runner because obviously there's just so much to know about RBO, different scenarios. But based on just about every test that I've done, if you're doing this double Norfair route with the route he's going, he would have saved a lot of time by just going ahead and going forward. You can actually get down to that energy refill station with minimal energy, and it would have been faster than continuing to farm. But he's fine, so he's in good shape.
Yeah, the nice thing is that room, the one non-heated room with the space pirates, what you want to do is make sure you take damage from the little gray Sovas. They do a lot less damage. Those space pirates will do 80 damage to your power suit. So as long as you get the iframes from the Sovas, you're fine getting down there to that energy refill.
Yeah, what exactly are those things called? I just called them like rock gamers or something.
Something like that. Okay, Kishville was having a little bit of an issue with Croc there, and Croc wasn't quite behaving, but now looks like he's got control of the fight.
Unfortunately, Samus is not equipped with Gutsman's weapon, so she can't pick up those rock gamers and throw them. Little Mega Man humor for you. All right. Or I guess I should have said Rock Man. That would have made it even more hilarious. So Maniacal does get his wave hell run done, and looks like he's gonna do exactly what I was talking about. He didn't farm at all, so he just picked up about maybe 15 or so seconds, and but he's still behind, obviously from his death and whatnot. But yeah, Kish. Did Kish not have enough energy to get the energy tank?
Maybe he's just gonna play it safe here, because he was pretty low on health by the time he was done with that Croc fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty slow. Because now what he's gonna need to do, he does have an extra energy tank, but what he's gonna probably need to do now is actually grapple over to get it, because he's gonna have a small hell run to get out of here, back to Business Center. So we'll
Yeah, Maniacal having a better time with Croc here. And he'll go ahead and pick up that E-Tank now. Oh, he got the wraparound shot from a different spot that I'm used to seeing. Usually I see it from when we're right around picking up the E-Tank. Looks like he shot from below.
Yeah, there's actually a couple ways to get that, which I find pretty fascinating.
I guess that shouldn't surprise me. Because that shouldn't surprise me. There are a lot of strats like that with the wraparound shots, so like the one criteria that have different spots, or even like a totally different tech with the Spore Spun super spot, where there's like a bunch of different spots you can set up to use that super missile.
Right. All I gotta say is all hell Spazer. I think when I was first coming up, I talked a bunch of smack about Spazer, but never again. Spazer offers a lot of variety in a lot of different ways, actually, not just in terms of like speedrun strats and damage and fights, but also different wraparounds.
Okay, Kish, let's see, is he gonna get that now? Oh, is he gonna Shine Spark? Yeah, he's gonna Shine Spark to it. Yeah, I kind of like that. It's a lot faster than Grapple Beam would have been. A lot safer than trying to run through the acid, and you get the free refill when you're done.
True. He did have to farm a little bit to get there, and he's also now has 140 energy less than he would have otherwise. But okay, now he definitely needs to go back and farm.
He's gonna buffer. I might have used Grapple to get back after the Shine Spark. Then he probably would have been okay getting out. But this is fine. He'll just do a little extra farming here. It'll give it Maniacal a chance to catch up a little bit, though.
You know what one of my favorite things about RBO is? You don't ever have to farm a bug farm that allows the drops to generate in a place where you can't reach them. Like in the GT Classic farm room, like right before the Magdalite room. That one sucks.
That's a terrible farm room. Okay, Maniacal's gonna have a much shorter farm, and he won't have to go pick up that energy tank. He's already got it.
Ooh, Kish came very dangerously close to touching that. I don't know what that creature's called, but anyway, I'm glad he didn't. He would have been fine either way. It depends, though. I don't know if Kish is going to do early Meridia. If he is, he's going to need to go get ice now, which is another hell run. Yeah, based on the save, I bet he's going to go get ice now.
Yeah, if you're going to do early Meridia, this is the time to get ice. So I know we'll see Maniacal get that as well.
The Garuda, Zost dropping the knowledge. Thank you, Zoster. I think Garudas are in Nestroid too, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, there are quite a few enemies that are in both games, which I think is really cool.
I got to tell you, if there's one track, I mean, first of all, I just want to say that the Kraid's Lair track from Nestroid is, in my opinion, the greatest Metroid track of all time. But apart from that, if there's one track from Nestroid that I kind of wish would have made it into this game, I probably would have picked the original Norfair music. I think that Norfair music's pretty tight.
Yeah, I like that too. And unfortunately, Zero Mission didn't quite do it justice, so it definitely has to be the original. Alright, Kish leaving ice. Maniacal just behind him. And this is where we might see some real route divergence. We'll see how each one of them handles their Brinstar criteria cleanup into early Meridia dips.
Yeah, the more traditional way of doing it is most people, when they first start running, are going to do the counterclockwise method where they start in Retro Brinstar. Zenny later kind of developed a way of doing a clockwise method, which I really like a lot. But usually, if you go that way, it also includes a late Crocomire situation. But anyway, I'm just thinking in advance because right now each runner has a little over 100 health. Well, Maniacal doesn't anymore because he did the Alpha Spark. But if you're gonna go in the clockwise way, the first tank you're gonna pick up is Waterway, and you really need to have like 100, like basically around 80, 90, 100 health. And so they should be good to go, assuming they don't run into anything. Now, Maniacal took the 15 seconds or so to get the Sloater's refill.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get X-ray because he still does an X-ray climb out of Meridia.
You know what?
I know that's not your favorite.
I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with Maniacal. I've explained to him in the past how much it hurts me when he does this, and he keeps promising me to he's gonna change, and he just doesn't. He just keeps doing it, and I'm me like a fool. I just continue to sit here and support him. But oh well.
Yeah, to your point, Kish is going to want to take out some of that reserve because not only will you not make it all the way through on that 68 that he had before he popped the reserve, if you land in the wrong spot on that Shine Spark, you will die instantly because those are Meridia enemies and they do a ton of damage. So definitely heads up play on Kish's side to make sure he had enough energy to get through this without dying.
Hey, if you ever want definitive proof that arm pumping is significantly faster, go to that waterway room. It'll actually show it to you way better than almost any other room because the effect that it has on you when you're in the water is, unless I'm misremembering, it's even more drastic.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's noticeable to the eye when you're in the water, I think, and to the way it feels when you're running through it. Okay, Kishmo setting up for his shot for the backdoor Spore Spawn missiles, or backdoor Spore Spawn supers. Like I said, there's a lot of different places you can set up there, and he does get through it just fine.
So Kish is doing that clockwise method we talked about. Maniacal is not. Maniacal will be heading here to grab these power bombs and presumably going up this elevator to. I think the next item he'll pick up is the criteria super missiles, the climb supers. Unfortunately, since he's coming from the left, he's not gonna have a chance to do a short charge for the mother brain room. Or I guess that's not the right term. What's the right term? The pit room.
I just call. You mean the supers? I just call them the climb supers or the
The
criteria.
Kid Icarus room. Haha, I got him.
Maniacal appreciate that.
So Maniacal does have the ice beam, and so will Kish here in a minute for this particular room. If you're doing a non-double Meridia route, you're not going to have the ice beam in that room, and so you have to employ a different type of strategy. There's different ways to do it. Personally, I like to do the non-deboost version. I think it's just way more consistent. But there are many ways to get through that room, even if you don't have ice. Looks like Kish did not get Mission Impossible power bombs, which is not a big deal. I think this comes down again to what you and I were talking about earlier. Like, for example, look, okay, I'm going to reference myself first and foremost. So when I do races, I run 20, 25, 20. But I wouldn't really recommend that to most players, especially in a race scenario. The only reason that I run that is just because of like my PB attempts are actually like even less equipment technically. So I'm kind of accustomed to it, and I'm also like cognizant of the numbers. If you're not familiar with like all of the math behind all the different sections and the ammo, I would highly, highly recommend getting 25 power bombs at minimum. It just takes a lot off of you in terms of remembering, and there are strats that you no longer have to run along the way to keep up with the numbers.
Well,
So,
and there are parts in Lower North. There's some nice spots in Lower North where you have pretty much guaranteed power bomb drops, but there are also places where you'd have to reload the room after you kill all the enemies. And so it's nice to have those extra power bombs. It'll save you a little bit on the farming as you're leaving, because when you're leaving, especially when you're leaving, well, first of all, when you're going in, and you might have to farm up the fire fleas to get that E-tank there, to get enough power bombs, you would have to do a little less farming, and then on your way out of Ridley, having to farm less power bombs to make sure you have that one last crystal flash to get out.
Yeah, but either way, it'll be okay. And I mean, you still have the opportunity to get, like power bombs of shame or whatever. The only reason I just bring it up is because it's not really a huge detour to get them, and especially when you're running a loadout that includes significantly more energy tanks, it doesn't, you're not really in much danger. But just the more movements you have to make. I mean, it's kind of like a math puzzle. The more movements you have to make around deadly enemies, the higher the probability something bad happens,
Yep, absolutely. Okay, Kish heading over to get the criteria stuff. Maniacal going to do the rest of his Brinstar cleanup. So yeah, pretty much just reversing what the other's doing.
That's right. We're going to get to see the same rooms, just in a different way.
This will be a little slower. I do believe Maniacal did the Shine Spark across here. Saves a little bit of time. Kish having to go through with power bombs, because he looks like he's chosen not to pick up the criteria power bombs. Yeah, to answer that question, yeah, Kish didn't do the spark because he didn't. For him, it would take more time. If he's not getting those power bombs already, it would take more time for him to go set up the wraparound shot and then come back through with the Shine Spark. Maniacal, having picked up the criteria power bombs, was already in position to do that Shine Spark. All right, Maniacal getting that nice mock ball out so he doesn't fall down.
You know, I just thought about something. I've never thought about this before. Given the fact that Green Tower, you know, the room they're leaving there, goes down so far, I wonder how big it is in comparison to Red Tower. Like, I wonder which one's technically bigger and by how much. I still think Red Tower is probably slightly bigger, but it's probably pretty close.
I guess you could look at the map and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I mean, this is a solvable question, I suppose, with all the wiki stuff on there. But I kind of forgot how big that room was vertically until he just kind of went out.
Mhm. Maniacal is going to go ahead and pick up the Mission Impossible power bomb. Let's see if he can get the Mission Impossible. I know he can do it. Not quite.
What is this strat Kisher's running in the clown room? This is fascinating. That looked like some Nestroid strats right there. Oh, I don't know, Mushroom Boy. Don't get me started now. I grew up on the NES, so that might end badly. I might end up.
Some of us played that game for a long time before this one ever came out. So, and I am absolutely aging myself and referencing myself on that one.
Yeah, I'll acquiesce though. I'll try to keep it tasteful, but I'll see how many NES references I can get.
And keep in mind, for those of you that may not like the original, this one does not exist without the original.
That's true. One small thing, I mean, I think most people know this, but I also just think it's a neat mechanic and causes you to really have to think about how to run certain rooms in different categories. But, you know, the room that Maniacal just left had 2 gray doors in it. And so you really, you know, you have to open that door up before you leave so it'll be blue on the way out. If you just, for some reason, forgot, you would, you know, really drastically change how with the strat you would run and how much time it would take. So I find those gray doors really cool. There's several different rooms throughout the run or throughout different categories that have them, and I think it's cool how you have to activate them.
Yeah, Maniacal, of course, going in to water with 70 tanks, he'll have no trouble here. Always like this spot. For anyone that hasn't learned how to short charge yet, this is a great place to learn because that top area is exactly the length you need to not short charge. So you can always tell whether you got the short charge or not based on how far you start or how far you are when you actually get the charge.
That's right. Maniacal grabbing the waterway tank. In the meantime, Kishmo has officially started his venture into Super Mario Bros. 3 World 3. And he's not going to have the frog suit, unfortunately, in this run at any point. So he's going to have to move pretty slowly throughout this section.
And he took a safety save there. He is kind of low. Murdy enemies hit hard, so this is a little bit low. Obviously, I don't know if he was going for or if he just missed the quick entry. So he's going to have to... He's a couple of choices here. You can freeze the fish in a way that he can wall jump up, or you can super missile this crab that he's waiting on off that top area and freeze it as it's falling. And then jump onto the fish and he can go on his way. So far doing a very nice job with the Suitless Meridia portion. I always find this section really calming to do Suitless.
I agree. I was going to try to do a Super Mario Bros. 2 reference with that crab, but I don't remember the official name of the crab, and I think it's World 5 or something. What, is Kish stuck here? What is or is it freezing?
I think he's frozen.
I was gonna say the stream must be freezing. Otherwise, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, well, we don't see
Um,
the map blinking, so okay. Yeah, well, we can see him going. Good old PowerPoint. But at least it's moving.
Maniacal, unfortunately, he got the like twist in, but then he over adjusted a little bit. That's kind of why I like to run a strat where I morph during that, just because I feel like it's a little safer.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, anyway. All right, so check out Kishmo. He's gonna do his best Bonnet Commando impression real quick.
Yeah, ironically enough, grapple beam, intended grapple beam strats being much easier to use suitless than they are with your gravity suit on. And Kishmo does get across. We'll see if my guess is he'll probably pick up the super missiles here. I guess the one super missile, the other one being the crab supers, which he hasn't picked up yet. And then he'll get this one. Then he'll pick up the crab supers, and then probably the Mama Turtle E-Tank. They could also pick up the Bauni tank. I don't think either one of them is going to do that, though.
Probably not. Ironically, I think both of these players are going to end up essentially running the same general loadout. We haven't seen that in a race yet. I think both of these guys are going to end up having 30 supers. They're going to get both packs in Meridia and then skip GT. So that's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to see that in a race, because we haven't seen. I don't think I've seen one where both runners have skipped GT, so that'll be pretty cool.
Claw grip. Excellent. Thank you, Android Dreams. Did I at least get the level correct? Is it level 5?
It is level 5. Yeah, it is 5. I played a lot of Super Mario Brother 2 in the day. I played a lot of Nintendo in the day.
Yeah, my 7-year-old memory is unbeatable.
There you go. Yeah, I was a little older than 7 for my Nintendo.
Well, that's okay. We won't hold it against you.
Yeah, it's fine.
I want to go on record. I've said this on multiple commentaries. The creature, like, look at Maniacal screen real quick. The creature that is flying down, these little eyeball things, those guys look like the scouts in Chrono Trigger in the Ocean Palace. They look almost identical. So every time I see them, like literally, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, doesn't matter what category I'm running. Every time I see them, I instantly think of Chrono Trigger.
Looks like Kishmo heading towards the crab supers. Ooh.
That is
balls down. Yeah, that's a bit of a time loss. Falling down before getting into the hole. I'll have to set this up again. Crouch jump to this crab, and now he won't have. He already killed the crab that essentially shows you where those missiles or where those supers are in the vanilla game when you're playing normally. Or I should say not vanilla, but casual game. But he does find the hole anyway.
Yeah. Luckily, with the water physics, it's a little bit easier there. Maniacal choosing to grapple across. I like the idea here. Looks like he's going to do something similar. Maniacal's about to take 120. Boom. Those
crabs hurt.
Those crabs do a ton of damage. In the meantime, both gentlemen doing their best Marble Madness impression. There you go. I think I'm 5 for 5 now, or 6 for 6. I'm getting there. I'm trying. Doing a little morph ball action. I already have by the way, I have a Kung Fu reference set up. It's going to be a while, but I'm trying to go through all the games that my family owned as a kid. So you're about to learn a lot about my library of games.
Well, if I were to name all the games that we owned as a kid, I'd have to go through about 100 Atari cartridges. So
yeah,
I'm not going to go there.
Right. I didn't know, in fact, Xanadu, but one of my good friends did, and he let me borrow it. And let me tell you, that game is weird. All right, we have a very close race here. Maniacal is only a room apart. Kishmo is actually kind of going through a portion that I find kind of awkward. Whenever you get the, Mama Turtle tank, this little section of the room can be a little tricky sometimes. He did a real nice job of not only getting out of there quickly, but not even getting hit.
Yeah, you can time it so that those red pirates that you can't kill until you have screw attack and or plasma beam, so that they're facing away from you and that they won't shoot you. So if you time it right, you can get out here without taking any extra damage. Maniacal not quite timing it as well. Fortunately, he's got a pretty decent energy count since he just picked up that E-tank, so he'll be fine. It does mean he will have to do some extra farming though, at some point. All right, now heading back to Norfair.
Yeah, getting ready. One thing I'm a fan of if you're going to be in a race and save here is I like the idea of farming up first.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to have to reload this Frog Speedway once or twice anyway, so you can run through once, grab the drops, continue forward, farm up, your missiles and whatnot, and then run back through to get the last of the powerbomb drops and then save. It's up to every individual runner, obviously, but if you die at the lava dive, it kind of stinks to have to farm again.
Absolutely. Looks like Maniacal's gonna farm in a different spot. Or he's gonna take the save here, maybe?
I guess.
Oh, you know what? He might be getting the reserve tank. I tried to remember if he got the reserve tank the last time. I want to say he did.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for it.
Well, I like to say in randomizer, reserve tanks save lives, so Maniacal must be listening, I guess.
They do. We'll see how it pans out, or if they need it or not.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about the difference between doing one reserve here and two reserves?
Well, I mean, it's kind of complicated. Again, I don't want anything I say to get misconstrued. I'm talking about my personal preferences here, not necessarily, the end-all, be-all opinion. I'm not a fan of running two reserve tanks in RBO, and the reason I'm not a fan is just because of how I like to adjust to only having one and how it sort of interacts with different portions of the runs. Even if you technically get down to 1 health on Ridley and finally get picked up and your reserve pops, you'll still survive. The one problem with that is you'll lose a ton of drops and it can be slower. But we're kind of talking about a different scenario here with, a race with two not overly experienced RBO runners versus, a PB attempt. So I don't know. It's a pretty big time investment to pick it up. But if it ends up being the difference between winning, dying or not, then it's obviously a good investment. So we'll see. Also, again, I'm being very specific here. If you're leaving your stuff on auto and you get to the Ridley Farm section, pretty good to go on your supers, then you're going to end up having to take even longer to tick down to get to your Crystal Flash range. So again, these are small things, but it'll be fine. Kishmo has managed to get into Lower Norfair successfully. Why don't we switch to his music? Well, I thought I had it pulled up.
I got it. There we go.
It was pulled up, and then later it said something was wrong, so I don't know. But anyway, Kish is going to start his green gate glitch situation here. Okay, this is not good.
Nope, there he goes.
Even though he did get it, that's still a tough situation. It's going to take him a little extra to farm. Personally, And see, this is where I don't want to, sound like a stickler, but I'm just telling y'all straight up, okay? In particular, like if you don't run RBO a ton, there are just so many minute details that can get you killed down here. I would have preferred even just one power bomb. I would have preferred for him to go ahead with the amount of energy he has. Just go ahead and grab Screw, go back up there and refarm without dropping any power
Mhm.
bombs.
Mhm.
But he'll probably be fine. I just think it's a little bit safer.
Okay, you see Maniacal, because he went to get that reserve and because he had to use a lot of energy to do it, did go over back to the Croc area, did the farm there, and came through via the Nutella refill. And he'll do his lava dive now. And makes it through. You see Kishmo farming up these supers. Let's see if he has 30. So let's see. I'm gonna guess he's gonna go and do the GT fight. Pretty certain Maniacal's not gonna do it. So well, that is gonna give Maniacal a bit of a time advantage, as he'll make a bit of a time while Kish does this fight.
Wait, why would Kish do it? Kish has got 30.
I know that's well looks the way he's farming up his supers.
Oh, I think he's just farming them
Okay,
up in
okay, he's just
preparation
you're
for
right,
the.
you're right. He's just farming them up.
Yeah, which he didn't necessarily have to do that many. I don't blame him for doing so. You're gonna get a few along the way, and on top of that, it's not terrible to farm some pre-Ridley, especially with this loadout. They have significantly more energy than they would traditionally have. The primary thing, this might sound kind of weird, but the primary thing when you have a loadout with this much energy is you have way more time than you might would realize. Like, this is not, they have to be cognizant to move, with purpose, but they don't have to go super duper fast to maintain enough energy to get to where they need to be. So usually if you have this much energy, you're not going to die because you make one mistake or something like that. It's going to be because you were just too aggressive. So they just need to relax and make sure that they do everything, one small piece at a time.
So Maniacal getting that green gate glitch a lot faster, much better off for his ammo. Okay, he's got his 30 supers. Will take the refill and then make his way out. Or first get screw attack, take the refill and make his way out.
Yeah, he's in good shape. Rich, I don't really have a great answer for you. I think just knowing that you're knowing the position you're in where you're about to fight GT and having I think that went down to like 0 supers. I think I just would have I think it would have been technically faster to just reset in that scenario. Given the likelihood that it wouldn't have taken, 10 shots to get the next one or whatever. But I think the time investment to farm ended up being more. Now, Kish has taken 3 hits of spikes. Okay, this is a problem. If he had been running a different loadout, he literally would be dead right now. And what I mean by that is not dead like on the screen, but he would have like been in a situation where it would be very difficult to make it to the Ridley farm correctly. Given the fact that he's got so much extra energy, he should be okay, but he needs to make sure he does not run into any hoppers.
Okay, not sure why he was pausing there for a second, but making his way down. Maniacal, meanwhile, in this amphitheater. This is a very, very dangerous room without a gravity suit. If that acid catches up to you, that's pretty much a death. Actually, in this situation, it absolutely is a death. Even with various suit, it's usually a death. But no suit, yeah, you're not surviving that.
Oh, Kish. Oh, okay, that's a reset. He needs to instantly reset.
Okay, one thing I noticed Maniacal doing, going into the Firefly area, I used a power bomb to kill the Namihe or Fune, or whichever it is, instead of using the traditional super missile. That way, the supers are just so precious in this part of the run, both for the crystal flashes you need to do and the Ridley fight itself.
My official advice for anyone running this category, whether you're new or not, it would be don't try to dodge anything. Just jump into everything. Don't break spin, just spin jump into everything.
That's what screw attack's for.
See, even right there, it's like, this is exactly what I'm talking about, okay? And I'm not trying to be Mr. Know-It-All, but like, think about how tiny of a mistake that was. Kish just didn't spin jump accidentally. And it's a reset. You know what I mean? Like, it's this category, especially racing it, comes down to so many minute details. That a lot of times it's not even about who performs the best in terms of like, nailing every strat. A lot of times it's just who doesn't make the critical error. Oh, Kish. I'm not a huge fan of Maniacal picking up these power bombs right here early. It's okay. Like, I'm not criticizing him, but at the same time, I would only pick those up on the way out if they were needed. They're not going to add anything really to his current situation. In the meantime, the Metal Pirate's doing their best Kung Fu impression. All right, I've been waiting all day to do that. And he will have them in advance if he gets past Ridley, but it's not really a pack that he needs unless he's got less than 12 on the way out.
All right, with the issues that Kish is having getting down here, Maniacal does take a bit of a lead.
Please, Maniacal, do not. Okay, Tracy. You know what, Tracy? I'm tired of saying it. Why don't you just
Well,
tell us about this room, Tracy?
This room is terrible. This room will kill you just as easily as Ridley will kill you. If you mess up that farm, I've seen more and more people, both in this category and in a randomizer situations when people try and do suitless roller warfare, or just mistaken farming, or just any kind of little error will screw you up for getting even to the Ridley fight, let alone surviving the Ridley fight.
More people lose their run in this room, especially when they get started, than the Ridley room. It's unbelievable how this room can punish you. You got to be really careful. And I'm not, I don't like the idea of skipping any of the farming in here, especially the power bomb drops, but we're still okay. Maniacal's got 30 supers. Let's pray that he doesn't miss any.
Very good start.
Yeah, he just needs to relax. He's got plenty of energy. Okay, now taking a second hit there is not good, but he still should be able to make this. He needs to jump in the claw.
Yeah, Ridley should be dead.
Just jump in the claw. Don't.
No, not the whole.
No. He might still be okay. Nope.
No. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't he better off not popping the entire reserve?
He shouldn't have popped any of the reserve. I mean, technically speaking, I guess you could argue he could have gotten like 100 of it or whatever, but even that, technically, if you look at the numbers, wouldn't have helped, because if Ridley had hit him, it wouldn't have mattered. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, you could have gotten a little bit for him to have enough leeway for Ridley to pick you up, but the most prudent thing to have done there would have been to try to jump into the claw. He probably, even if he's not very practiced at jumping into Ridley's claw, probably would have had a better chance at jumping in and surviving than not, if that makes sense. Yeah, but you definitely wanted to leave some in the tank there.
Yeah, because part of the understanding how to do that Ridley fight is getting the end of it. Because, of course, Ridley doesn't normally just die. You have to get picked up, or if you don't get picked up, there's a swoop counter that eventually will have Ridley just spontaneously explode. But in RBO, you can't wait for that spontaneous combustion.
Right, and Kish showing something off here that I think is very prudent decision. All right, even if you're running 30 supers, I think you should do the opening X Factor, because the opening X Factor is You know, I don't call anything free in this game, but it is very easy to set up. And what it's allowed Kish to do is have a two super missile leeway, and as we can see, he already missed one. So even though he missed one, he's still okay. Boom, got
There
him.
it
Easy
is.
peasy.
All right, gonna pick up the E-tank and make his way out. Right,
All right,
now we have the
and
dueling farms, but Maniacal before the Ridley fight and Kishmo after the Ridley fight.
yeah, I'll spare y'all. Earlier, I sang the FarmersOnly.com theme song. Both runners were farming at the same time. I won't do it to you a second time today. But
It is,
yeah,
yeah. It is important that he gets enough supers and enough power bombs to go ahead and do that one last crystal flash to get out. He's leaving with only okay. He's just gonna reset the room so he gets some more power bombs. He's gonna want to be after a while. You know, if you don't have power bombs after the metal pirates room, and sorry, not power bombs. Well, those two, but really the supers. It's very hard to find a place to get supers to do that last crystal flash. So he's gonna want to make sure he has them.
true. And Kish still technically has the power bombs of shame
He
that he
does.
can pick up if needed. Which I still find it actually easier to pick those up from the bottom, like from the below, because it offers you an opportunity to kill the first hopper guy. I don't know what those. I can't remember what the purple ones are called.
Yeah,
the Skigas, yes. But in the meantime, Maniacal having the start of his next fight. Good opener so far. He just needs Ridley to pogo one more time. That looks like a quick swoop. Okay, good. Maniacal picked up on that very adeptly. He has been backed into by Ridley, but Maniacal, if he can turn him around and jump into his claw, is okay. If I were him, I would pop the reserve here and get it just a little bit. Now, in this circumstance, Maniacal is...
should be okay.
No, I don't think he's going to survive.
Oh,
he would have if he'd have popped his reserve and even gotten 10 or 20 energy. The problem is that it ticked down below the threshold of where the reserve would have triggered after he died with only one. Anyway, that's very, very unfortunate.
But nothing to do but try it again.
Yeah, and that's the challenge of RBO, man. It's a mental grind.
Kish can do his last crystal flash. I like how he lets himself get to that crystal flash threshold and then goes into the non-heated room. Also, I like that he moved away from the Fune shot, because you will not survive a crystal flash if you get hit in the middle of it.
Nope, that's true. I mentioned this multiple commentaries already. I'll say it again real quick. The Three Musketeer room that Kishmo's coming up on, a lot of runners initially sort of instinctively will jump on this ledge up here and then wait for the acid to move. The Kish does the correct thing. It actually is either the same, or depending how good of a mock ball you get, you actually lose less energy by going through the acid sum, because you're cutting down significantly on the amount of heat damage. Because when you're waiting for the acid in that spot, you're actually in the room for a lot longer. So anyway, a little something for you guys to think about, a little time saver.
Okay, Kishmo basically through with his hell runs. I don't really count the one room before the Frog Speedway.
All right, let's give some energy to Maniacal. I want to see him get past Ridley here.
Kishmo gonna farm up for his. Ooh.
And that's
And
another one
to
of
your
those common
yep,
mistakes.
the death in the room before Ridley again.
Yep, and again, technically the mistake is tiny, right? You just didn't kill the 2 bugs before doing a crystal flash, and technically you can pull that off, but it's very particular, the timing,
Yes.
and it's just way safer to have the 2 drops there, crystal flash, and then by the time the crystal flash is done, the bugs will be coming back up, and you can immediately resume your farm. But you know, just a little small tiny error on timing, and you know, lose a minute or so. This is a brutal category. And I think sometimes when people watch like the really good runners do this, like, you know, if you're watching Zenny do this category or watching Zos, you know, I remember watching Zos initially grind it. Even they get into trouble, but they're running with such little ammo. But it's like it's even harder than it looks. Like there's just so many tiny details that they're taking care of that you don't realize until you do it yourself.
No, but and to your point, I mean, I watched Zenny a lot when he was grinding this category really, really hard. And a lot of resets, you know. And you're not talking
Oh yeah.
the world record holder. And I often talk about Zost, and the very first speed run I ever watched was an old YouTube video of Zost doing what was then an RBO record. So
Was it the one from
absolutely blew me.
2017?
You know, it might have. I don't know. I honestly don't remember because that's when I watched the video in 2017. It might have actually been
Well, that's
before
probably
that.
what it was. I think, see if my memory serves me, because I had just started running the game a few months before that, and he was kind of on a break, and then RBO was the first thing he came back to,
Yeah,
and
and
I
that
think it was like March or April of 2017 when he started, and man, I just remember how fun that was.
and let me tell you, when you've never seen any kind of speed run, an RBO speed run will just absolutely will blow your mind.
It will. The first time I distinctly remember the first time I saw Zost do a grapple jump grapple jump in Aqueduct, I literally laughed out loud because I was so like it was just so funny to me. I was
Yep.
like, what the hell did I just see? So anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff in this run.
Okay, Kish making his way through Meridia again.
Oh no.
So yeah. I've seen some people actually go over to closer to the door to do the crystal flash to get away from the bugs as well. I don't know if that's a better option, but it definitely is an option.
Well, with this loadout, I think it's okay. Because you just have extra energy and it's not very punishing to move over and come back. But you know, I don't know, maybe it just depends. But it's just so particular. He needs to basically the easiest way to do it would just be to leave 2 drops on the screen. And this is, you know, I didn't want to bring this up earlier, but this is actually part of the reason why I don't recommend necessarily to newer players to run 2 reserve tanks. Now, I get it. You get an extra 100 health, and yes, that can be very helpful, or energy. But what it does is it puts you in a different type of position for timing and farming in this particular location. And I didn't really want to bring it up because I didn't think it would probably make a difference. But like, you know, it actually is kind of a big deal. Like, there have been a few of these deaths that probably could have been more easily avoided with the rhythm of only having 1, because when you only have 1, it's like you pop your reserve, you kill 2 bugs, and then you crystal flash, period, no matter what happens. It's like it's the same every time. Here he's kind of got a gauge because he's got more energy. It's not that complicated, but it just can be overwhelming sometimes when there's a lot going on.
Kish doing his ice clip to get over to Baun.
Okay, Maniacal's looking real good here. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. All right, nope. He was fine for a second there, but man, that's rough. So Kishmo gonna grab this energy tank. One thing I like to do here, it's definitely not faster, but if you even miss like one jump, I think it ends up being about the same. I take off my high jump boots here. Looks
See
like
him
that is
doing
what
that.
he's doing.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, me too. Trying to jump up these little. I mean, you could do it with high jump. It just makes it a little bit easier if you don't have those high jump boots on. Just you got to remember to turn them back on when you're done.
Yeah, I've been guilty of running into the next room with the Metroids and then trying to do like my normal strat where I freeze and jump on top of them, and then like I just can't get on top of them. So I've done that several times.
And then we got a nice little farm spot to get his ammo up right here, because we'd still have one more crystal flash to do. I think, did he turn them off and then turn them back on and then turn them back off again?
They're not on right now.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
I think he turned them off for the jumps, and then I think he turned them back on, and then I think he forgot that he had turned them back on and went and turned them back off again. But they're on now, so we're all good. And this room here that Kish is going through is another room. You got to be very careful, and you don't want don't fall into sand, Kish, please. Yeah. So that sand has spikes in it, and if you fall in the sand, it's very difficult.
Isn't bad. You just don't want to be turning around. If you're moving forward, it's no problem. In fact, a lot of times you can just kind of move forward and use it as a way to like jump a certain way through the room. But that what he just did right there is very bad. Okay, if he'd have been just even slightly later on that turn, he would have been stuck. Ooh, man, please don't do that.
And that one little grapple block, the reason why this game, this room is so annoying when you play it the first time and you don't know how to wall jump. Trying to get that grapple block is just such a pain. I do expect he'll take a save here.
Even when I first started speedrunning this game, and I use speedrunning in quotes, I was like using grapple, you know, and that room was always the room where I was like, all right, how long is it going to take me to get through here?
Yep. So true.
All right, Maniacal has missed one super. Ooh, now
that's
two.
Another miss.
He's taking... Yeah, that's going to be... He doesn't have enough energy left to finish this fight.
And he just decides to reset, which I think is a smart thing to do at that point. Yeah, I sense he's probably getting really frustrated because the first two fights were pretty good and just the ends didn't go very well. And since then, it's been an uphill battle to get back to where he was in those first two fights.
Carpet ball? I think what you're referring to are those really orb-like pillows from the 70s that were big that had shag carpet on it. We had one as a mascot in my band in college, but we didn't call it carpet ball. His name was Shaggy Sphere.
Let's see if... Okay, so we got the goo pattern. Kishmo going to be grabbed in the middle of this crystal flash in order to set up a spark suit.
Yeah, Kish is having a nice Dragon so far. Man, this is a really... Dragon was incredibly friendly with the patterns. Let's see if Kish can get this... No, unfortunately, the way he set that up, that's part of the reason I don't like to do that setup for the quick grapple kill. It's okay. but I like to be on the ground and then do a spin jump and then
Yep.
activate,
He
and that's because you have a wider range of goo patterns that'll hit you.
Yeah, he wants to get yeah, so he does get the quick grapple kill. I do believe he had enough health that he would have been able to survive if he just waited it out and just gone ahead and done the grapple kill. And he has enough ammo that if he needs a refill, he does have enough to crystal flash again. So he has some choices. But this is just as well. He has plenty of health now, plenty of chances to get the grapple jump out of here.
Oh yeah, and he can. Did you already mention the crystal flash?
I did.
So I actually had to use that in my last race, and which is strange because technically I should be one of the people who should be able to get this like very quickly. But sometimes, this trick is very particular, and if you're just not focused or just barely off, you can continue to miss it. So,
There are some strats that as good as you can be in them. I talk about this a lot with the green gate glitch, but this could be another one of those where if after a while, every once in a while it just goes away. Kish doing a
right.
great job getting that grapple jump though, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, he nailed it. Well done, Kish.
And I don't like to say anyone's done with Dragon until they've done that crystal flash out and gotten through the door. So Kish is now done with Dragon.
And Maniacal has a successful crystal flash at this point. Now he just needs to farm to 30 soups, and let's get this going, Maniacal. I believe.
Yeah, Kishmo now done with the hardest parts of the run. The rest is just let's go get a plasma beam, go kill Fantoon, and go kill Kraid, and then finish it off.
Didn't quite get enough height on that jump real quick to get Ridley to turn. He did take a hit, but he still should be okay. If he's got enough energy to where if he just finishes these supers here, which he just missed one, he needs 6 regular missiles. But if he can just jump into the claw, but even if not, even without jumping into the claw, if he just rolls over to that right column, he should be fine.
Okay, yeah, this one's gonna work. He's got to go ahead and pick up this energy tank, and he has lots of power bombs, so he's just gonna have to farm up some supers to get that last crystal flash, so he should be fine getting out of here now.
To answer the question in chat, I mean, there are probably other people who could probably give you a more technical answer, but just from my experience, if you're going to have Ridley pick you up at the end of a fight, in particular like an RBO situation where you just can't get hit really, you have the angle at which he will come to try to get you is more likely to be a friendly angle, and technically you have more options to roll into his claw from that position. And again, I can't necessarily prove this, but just based on anecdotal evidence, I have been hit by his tail less doing it that way. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it seems to be a lot less likely. So, I don't know. Take that however you want.
Okay, Kish picked up his grapple beam. Now going to make his way. The one category we're going to see the Forgotten Highway. It definitely is faster in this situation because we are picking up that plasma beam. Most of the time we don't see this area. Maniacal not quite getting that speedball out. So he'll probably have to crystal flash a little bit earlier. That's okay. He'll have plenty of energy once he does it. Looks like he's gonna pair the crystal flash with destroying these blocks.
Yeah, they will reform before the end of the crystal flash, but it's fine. He can just turn into a ball and continue. I'm glad that he got that. done. Oh, he was able to shoot. It looked like he almost got out of there in time, but anyway, he'll be able to. It looks like he's not going to save, but he should have plenty of
Yeah,
energy to get
this is
out
fine.
now. He just needs to make sure not to get hit by any key hunters.
Okay, one last little bit of water area.
Is that the last water? No, I guess technically the last water they're in
I mean,
officially is like in the
yeah.
tube.
I mean, they have to go over the ocean, but you know.
Yeah, that's true. But still, I think that's a neat room actually because you don't really get to see it very.
No, yeah, you don't get to see the Forgotten Highway, and I tend to include all those areas when I can say the Forgotten Highway. Don't get to see it very often. It's cool to get to see it here, and of course, Spiky Room of Death is not when we go through it before Fantoon's been killed. Okay, Maniacal out of Lower Norfair, and now we'll head to Meridia.
You love to see it. Sorry, Toaster, sewage doesn't count.
Okay, Kishmo going into his Fantoon fight. Ideally, you're going to want to get the two missile Doppler and then hit Fantoon with a charge shot. And then you should get a pretty easy 2-round that way.
Slow.
Yep. Of course, we get the slow pattern to start with.
Please don't Doppler Kish. Kish!
You have charge for Ice Wave Plasma. You have full beam combo. Old habits die hard, I guess. Okay, now remembering he's got that charge beam, that nice charge Ice Wave Plasma. He's only gonna take one more shot at this point.
Fantoon rightfully punishing Kishmo for his transgression. The game is 100% self-aware, and Fantoon is a living proof.
And of course, the gravity suit being way too far out of the way and way past its usefulness, so definitely not going to go pick that up. He could pick up the various suit if he wanted to. That's not so far out of the way. You'll see some runners do that. I don't know if Kishmo will do that or not.
Ooh, Maniacal getting the Main Street first try over here. You love to see that too. That is a section, especially that crab to fish jump section. That can be a huge time sink if you are a little off rhythm there.
Don't think Kishmo meant to jump into those missiles, but he's got them now.
The PB missiles.
Yeah. Is that called that because it ruins your PB because of the extra 7 seconds?
No, I call them that because a little brief backstory. So when I first started running this game, I only ran 80% old route to kind of get started, and my goal was to get a sub 50 time. Before I ran anything else, I never did anything else until I got that. But for some reason, when I started getting down to around like the 52 mark or so, there was like this long stretch where like almost every one of my PBs accidentally picked up those missiles.
Nice.
And so it became this funny thing where I accidentally would like do something wrong and pick them up, and then I'd be like, well, I guess I'm going to PB. And then I had a PB, like you lose 7 seconds to get in those things. and I think my PB before my first sub 50 was like a 50:04 or something like that. And then I didn't PB again for like a long time. So every time I saw him, I would just be like really frustrated.
Okay, Kishmo gonna head over to do Kraid since this is reverse boss order. We do still have to kill all the bosses.
Ooh, Maniacal getting that super drop there from that Metroid. That was a nice gift. All right, I'm curious to see. In both races today, at least one runner has managed to accidentally freeze one of the pirates or mini Kraid on the way out, and then like stop their momentum. So I'm curious to see if we'll get away from that this run. But oh man, Maniacal very low on energy. Hopefully, Bot Twin won't. Okay, I think we're good now.
He's fine. Yeah, Botswoon can fall on you and kill you as he's dying there. I've had it happen before. It's not fun.
No, it can definitely happen. Various skip. By the way, there lies Edric. Oh, I called it. I called it, ladies and gentlemen. I called it.
Yeah, sometimes that ice beam just gets in the way. Getting that sweet mock ball out of the Kraid's lair area.
Mouth ball.
Yep.
Golf, why would I want to be a meteorologist? I'm actually right most of the time. Come on, man. I'm just kidding around, by the way. Let's see which way Kishmo goes. Most runners will do the red tower way. We talk about this all the time. It is definitely faster if done optimally, but some runners, myself included, looks like Kishmo as well, opt to go this route. Personally, I prefer the strats this way, and I just think it's more interesting. I always like a good chance to do reverse green Brinstar.
Yeah, sometimes I think that word optimal can be a bit of a dirty word, as there's so many things that are most optimal done one way, but of course, optimally for the people that can do them. And if you're not one of those people that can do them, then it's no longer most optimal.
Yeah, there's a lot of complexity there. That whole thing will lead to many a fight on
Sure
on the
will.
internet about things, but I think everybody knows where I stand on that particular discussion. But anyway, yeah, Kish is very close here to G4, and he's just gonna be ready to go. He should have a fairly eventful Torian with this many supers. The only thing that could potentially get in his way is if he like forgets that he doesn't have various suit and somehow takes too much damage from Mother Brain or the Metroids or something like that.
And those of you in chat, those are things that can happen.
Yeah, they can. I mean, you'd be surprised at the number of runners who early on in their RBO runs end up losing a massive PB accidentally running into Mother Brain too many times, like after she's dead. Like Mother Brain 2's dead and people run into her too many times. It's definitely happened to me. I actually have the video of it on my phone, I think, because it's a good laugh occasionally. I've seen other runners do it. It's not overly uncommon, so he just needs to be careful.
So I'm going to point this out. Maniacal taking the damage so that he can... Maniacal typically will do this part of the run with doing the grapple jump out and an X-ray climb out, and he did get the X-ray scope. But it looks like he's setting up for the crystal flash shots. This might be a new thing for him. Maybe because you're commentating, if he wants to show it off.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was that?
Well, look at Maniacal. He's going for the standard crystal flash strats. It's not something he usually does.
Oh, is it not? What does he normally do?
He normally will just kill Dragon. I guess grapple. But then he'll grapple jump out and then use X-ray climb to get out, and doesn't do the shine spark. So.
Oh, I guess you do have a point. I forgot about that. Maybe he's just gonna go for it. Oh.
He can try again, though. He does have, if he wants to damage himself down, he does have enough for a second crystal flash. But maybe he's just was going to give it the one go, and then we'll revert back to the grapple jump out with the X-ray climb.
Meanwhile, Torian making the bubble bobble sounds. Sorry, I'm still trying to get my quota for NES references. I didn't even own Bubble Bobble. I don't even know why I decided to use that one. Did anybody pick up on my Dragon Warrior reference earlier? Anybody? Probably not. It's okay.
Dang, that was one of the games I had too.
Great game. I'm all about some grinders.
Yeah, don't remember whether my first two RPGs were that and the original Final Fantasy. I don't remember which one was actually the first one.
Nice skip by Kishmo.
Very nice.
I made a reference to is it Jay MacArthur, whatever the name of that guy is outside of Kraid's room that is dead. Anyway, I said here lies Edric or whatever.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a deep one. That was a deep. There it is. Aster's got me. Arthur J. Metroid. Who died? What is the story? He died trying to save 10 frames or something on a speedrun.
Okay, Maniacal setting up his X-ray climb, or trying to set up the X-ray climb. It's like Kishmo is trying to go for a down back zep skip. And gets it. That saves him from having to turn off that screw attack.
Yep. Maniacal doing his little thing over here too. I refuse to call it by its name.
Yeah, I know. You and the X-ray scope are not exactly on speaking terms. Except maybe in Hundo where you have to pick it up.
Right.
Alright, Kishmo almost done with his 20 shots here.
Careful, Kish. All right, very nice.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we have the two categories this week where you're gonna do the stand-up glitch, this and GT Classic. This one being a lot more forgiving in terms of setting it up because you have so many more E-tanks, and without a suit, you don't have to turn one off, and you can have more energy for this second rainbow beam. And GT Classic being the exact opposite with that tight amount of exactly 700 energy that you have to manage. But it does look like Kish didn't quite get it.
Yeah. And he's facing right. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
But okay. Turn around.
Oh, thank goodness you're someone that can actually sing.
See that's the baby Metroid. You know, every now and then I get a little bit hungry. No. I honestly, for real though, all memes aside, I don't know if I've ever seen someone in that pose,
Yeah, I
facing
don't think I
right.
have either. Oh, okay, it forces him left. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. Oh,
Yeah,
this is what
but
I was worried about. Just
boy.
after I said this is the more comfortable of the stand-up glitches, and where was his
Oh,
last save?
I'm sure he'd say before Mother Brain. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay, he's fine.
This is gonna be so random, and nobody is gonna have any idea what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So whenever that happens and Mother Brain's like body segment is the only thing on the screen, it reminds me of a toy I had when I was a kid. I was a big fan of the Ninja Turtles, and I don't remember what its name was, but there was some kind of like huge mosquito like creature vehicle thing I think that they released, and it looks a lot like that. So for whatever reason, every time, no, it's like something that was never even in the cartoon. It was just something that you could buy as a toy. Is like a giant mosquito. Anyway, the body of the mosquito reminds me of Mother Brain's body segment. So anytime someone does that, like I can't help but think about it. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'm gonna Google it real quick. Hold on.
Alright, Kish gonna start this Mother Brain fight again. And he's actually needs to be a little careful here. He no longer has enough energy to do stand-up. And needs to stay over 600 energy just to survive here.
And he does so. He's good to go.
Okay, won't get a stand-up glitch, but that's okay. It's probably safer anyway. He's got a big enough lead that a stand-up glitch is not going to make a difference.
Maniacal, in the meantime, leaving Meridia for the last time.
Going up that purple
elevator.
Yeah, going up that purple. It was you that pointed that out to me in a dab race we were commentating last summer. So
Yeah, that purple one looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I think the what I'm talking about with the TMNT thing is less about it looking identical and more just about like if you look at Mother Brain the way she is designed, like visually, it looks like a lot of 80s and 90s plastic toys. Like,
sure.
you know what I'm saying? Like her legs
Mhm.
and arms are like plugged into her
Yep.
body. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
I know exactly. Yeah, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah.
I had a lot of those 80s toys, not so much the 90s.
Mr. Potato Head, nice.
Nah, yeah, I don't know if he really would put Mr. Potato Head in that range, but
You can open up Mother Brain's back portion, and inside holds the rest of her parts, and you can like swap
there
her
you
head
go.
out. And
Okay, that'll work. Okay, Kish now into Mother Brain 3. Alright, finishing up Mother Brain 3, all that's left is the escape.
Kishmo dancing around like he's an Excite Bike. We should replace the ending music with the Excite Bike win music. That would be great.
Yeah. That's another one I played a long time ago.
Maniacal's gonna get a mid right here because he's getting rewarded for his due diligence with C for firing the charge shots.
Yep, that's the way you do it. Easy 2-round.
Oddly, I'm actually not sure if he got a 2-round. I've just said that because it was coming up.
I think he did, but yeah.
Oh no, Kish needs to be very careful. Okay.
Okay, yeah. See, the instinct here is to go back and try and get that charge, but without a gravity suit, that's not going to work. So he very, very smartly just starts jumping up, just starts wall jumping.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Kish is going to. Well, I just real quick before he does this, I just need to remind we're all. No one's perfect, y'all. Actually, looks like my man over here might be doing a little bit of a yeah. All right,
nope,
never mind.
Nope, not gonna actually do it.
I like this. In fact, I like that so much I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Clearly, it wasn't very important. So this is the last race of tonight. We have a few races tomorrow.
Nope. One more tonight. Actually, it's probably going on right now.
Wait, what's the other race tonight?
Cerberoth and Gameaholic playing over, I want to say, on SpeedGaming 6.
Oh, okay.
They're doing a GT Classic run.
Okay, so we've got a few left tomorrow, and we'll see if we have any more RBO. But I don't think we've had an RBO run yet this round, or maybe in this whole tournament where someone didn't die. But GG to Kishmo. What's our official time there, Trey?
Official SRL time, 1:40:17. GG to Kish.
And he will move to 3-2,
yep.
and he is still in the running for the playoffs. For if he wins next week, he could get himself into that play-in race. So staying alive over here, kid.
Yep. And we do have Gameaholic and Cerberoth. They are on SpeedGaming 2. With Android Dreams and Linares on the call. Thank you especially to Android Dreams. I couldn't do that one, but I could do this one, so we end up swapping. And then Linares also joining him at the last minute. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. we have Diddy versus Woody. At 4 p.m. we have 2 races, Azo versus Mumu Didi and Toasty versus Aussie 101. That Toasty Aussie one should be a good one. That's another that's a 3-1 versus 3-1. And then at 8 o'clock, another 3-1 versus 3-1. We have Galmaz versus Derp. So a whole lot more Metroid action coming to you this weekend. And then next week, the last week of the Swiss round, a lot of very interesting matches to be sure. Although we don't know what those matches will be yet. And we will have one match we do know is the 5-0 Zenny versus the 5-0 Zos. So definitely gonna hope I can tune into that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great race. We've got. Wait. Okay, I thought I changed the audio. Maybe
you did. Yeah, something. Yeah, it should. Yeah, because it says it's using Maniacal's audio, and it's not.
It'll do it eventually. But yeah, it should be a fascinating race. We've got some great categories. Week 6 has been pointed out. It's gonna be fun to see how many low ices we get, and also some more triple bingos. So.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get more low ice this time because there's a lot of people that either don't like any % or don't like triple bingo, and if you combine 2 of those people together, you're gonna end up with a low ice. So.
That's true. That's a good point. I would love to see it. I love watching low ice races.
Alright, Maniacal, having killed Kraid, is gonna make his way to Turian. Maniacal also gonna go through Green Hills to get over there.
The Green Hill Zone. I guess I can't say that. That's not a NES reference.
Yeah, not quite, but it is an old video game reference, so.
They're not rivals anymore. It's okay.
That's right.
I'll tell you this. One thing I will say in Sega's defense versus Nintendo, I haven't seen the new Sonic movie, but there's no way it's worse than the old Mario movie.
I'm not sure
So
there's anything that can. Well, Starship Troopers, the movie that comes to mind, but
I don't even
that
think that
Mario
one's nearly
movie.
as bad as
I
movie
know. I was
Super
thinking,
Mario Bros.
yeah,
movie.
yeah. That was a true stinker.
I was a huge Nintendo fan when I was a kid. I mean, I still am, but I was a huge Nintendo fan, and even I, after renting that movie and watching it, was like, "What did I just watch?"
Yeah, I felt the same way, but fortunately, I think I DVR'd it as an adult and didn't spend any money on it. So wasted a little bit of time, but not money. But it definitely was one of those movies where at the end you say, "I want those 2 hours back."
Yeah, yeah. My little young brain could not comprehend why the movie was made that way. But oh well.
All right, Maniacal heading into his Turian. Doing a nice job so far.
Hey, I got a question for you. I actually hadn't really thought about this. So, how many hit points do Metroids have?
Let me think about this. I thought it was
Like
300. No, wait, no, that
do
can't
they
be
have
right.
500 on the dot, or do they just take like bonus damage from a super or
Yeah, I
something?
think it
Like,
is five. Yeah, no, I think it is 500 because, and then the supers do double damage. I think that's what it is. As
Okay.
sure with the knowledge, it is 500.
Okay, so here's another question. Because that Rumble talked about this like in a commentary a while back, and it like I never really thought about it this way. Are the doors programmed to have health too? And like, and if the door is technically programmed to have health, does the super do double damage, and that's why it opens with one super?
You know, I've thought about that one as well. I actually don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. Yeah, as you with knowledge that on the Metroids, they take double damage from supers and half damage from power bombs, which is why it would take 3 power bombs instead of, I guess it would be one and a
That makes
half.
sense. That does make sense. Nice baby skip there by Maniacal.
Okay, Astra also with the knowledge says doors do not have health. The pink doors have a missile count.
So I wonder what it is that makes them open on one super then. Like, I wonder what the technical stuff behind it is.
Okay, Astra gonna turn off that screw attack to get through the Zebs here.
Okay, so They just do. Okay. Well, that answers that one. All right, Maniacal has plenty of supers here to just unload. And we are a short Mother Brain 2 fight away and maybe potentially stand-up glitch from being done with all the bosses here.
All right, to the ketchup. Okay, Maniacal is going to go for that stand-up glitch. And this is kind of what I was talking about. You see Maniacal at 287 with full suits, or even with, I believe it was just various suit, or even just, perhaps even just gravity suit. The rainbow beam would still come back, or Mother Brain would continue to try and damage Samus down. But with no suits, she stops at this point. And that's one of the things that allows that makes stand-up a little bit easier in this situation if you do it right and don't turn around like poor Kish. Fortunately, that was not the decider of the race. Maniacal doing a very nice job with this stand-up. You know, it's funny, even when you do everything right, there's that one moment where Samus's sprite just goes a little wonky, and it scares me every time I see it.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that.
But
And we've got
Maniacal,
a dead Mother Brain 3.
yeah, I think that was only was that only one shot? If not, it was only 1 or 2. It was not a lot.
Yeah, it was either 1 or 0. Can you even get 0? I don't know.
I think
My
you,
stand-ups are so
yeah,
bad, it never
I
happens.
don't think you can get 0. I think the best you can do is 1 shot to finish her off. Like, you can actually do all 40 shots. There's enough time in certain circumstances if you do it well, but I think you still have to fire 1 shot.
No memes here, no animal visits. Maniacal is going to finish in second place with, what do we got?
We have an official SRL time of 1:52:21. GG's Maniacal.
And make sure to give Maniacal your thanks in the chat as well as next week for being one of our fantastic organizers. Gotta say, a lot of his ideas ended up being cornerstones of some of the concepts and ideas behind some of the ways we set things up. So he's been working real hard behind the scenes, and he's had a great tournament. Unfortunately, this is going to put him out of reach of the playoffs, but still a good performance so far. And
Yeah,
I'm really happy to see him run RBO.
And to your point, he's kind of my go-to whenever I have questions about how the Swiss Swiss math works.
Yeah, and I think we're joined by Maniacal. Is that you, buddy?
Yeah. GG, Maniacal. I see you talking and I can't hear you.
That's because I had physically muted my mic.
There we go.
There we
Here
go.
I am.
I can hear you now. So, other than Ridley, it was really nice. Ridley, I don't know if we want to talk.
Other than Ridley, it was like a 3-minute PB probably. I beefed Dragon. I've been screwing around with like actually bothering to learn RBO Dragon, but still grabbing X-Ray as a crutch. And then because I was already dead in the race, and because Kip really was hard on Kishmo about the fan tune, I decided to do a non-X-Ray fan tune and see if he was going to be as hard on me about it. And he totally wasn't, so he was totally biased.
The funny thing is I completely forgot that you had
Yeah, so did I at that point, but
yeah, I actually
Kip
had
and X-Ray though, they just don't go together.
Yeah, I had a super awkward 3-round instead of a clean fight at all.
Oh, it was a 3-round, okay.
Yeah, it was a real bad fight. I got flamed on one of the missiles and basically split 1 and 1 and only went for 2 on the first cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had no way to get a third missile in round 2, and I was like, well, I guess we're 3-rounding.
Actually, I think that's happened to at least 3 people today, so you're certainly not alone in that regard. And that just goes to show you, even if you're, have a lot of equipment, he can still troll you pretty good with the flame lames. But yeah, man, it was really cool to watch you run RBO. I know it's a category that you haven't done like a ton of in the past, but I think it's really neat that you put on a great show for us. And I know you're big on running a lot of different categories. So tell us a little bit about just your experience so far in this tournament. We were mentioning that a lot of your ideas are kind of cornerstones of how we set things up. Tell us a little bit about how you've enjoyed the tournament and also what you're looking forward to with week 6.
Oh man, that is there's a very bimodal response to this. So I'll go with the good side first, which is I'm so happy with the reception that some of the ideas that I really championed into this tournament, like how everything's played out and how people seem to be really enjoying a lot of the things about the format that I was super excited about. I think the round structure as it's played out better than I had envisioned it playing out. And I'm really happy with the format. I've really enjoyed the format. I think it creates a lot of really interesting match dynamics in terms of pre-match management and things like that. Even though it does make it kind of, hard on the restream and hard on the organization in terms of having to worry about potentially a bunch of very disparate time length categories. But that's been a good experience so far. And the overall experience with the tournament, I love Swiss as a format. The matches are supposed to get better as the rounds go on. In general, you do have some outliers. I feel like this was very much an outlier matchup for me. Getting Kishmo at 2-2 when Kishmo is a blanketly better player in a bracket where we're both seeds that are supposed to have high equity matchups if we should end up at 2-2, because expectation is 2-2, 3-1 bubble for both of us.
Yep.
Kishmo being at 2-2 was really bad. And then Challenge does a really bad job with tiebreakers, and I got kind of the real short end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, and
I guess
know
he
what?
overslept 1 week or something.
Another thing about your matchup, and I say this with zero ego, but I did notice it, and I thought it was kind of very unfortunate. You and Hero raced last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And then the winner drew me, and the loser drew Kish.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Is a pretty tough situation in terms of the seating or whatever. So anyway, that was I agree with you. There's some definite issues with Challenge.
Yeah, and I was again a big proponent of not using Challenge early, but we just don't have a really better, more stable infrastructure for it. And so, unfortunately, with no better solution, Challenge is what we've got. And so, it's you live with it and you die with it, unfortunately. And so, I knew this week was going to be a rough matchup. I was able to get Kish to acquiesce to RBO by forcing him into the split decision of GT coin flip versus RBO, and he rightly chose RBO from among those options. I wasn't able to execute to do what I needed, and so unfortunately 2-3 out of week 5 puts me at the commentary bracket in this tournament, which sort of sucks. I felt like I was a 3-3/4-2 bubble player in this field, and so I've definitely underperformed my expectations for the tournament, which is always a disappointing outcome. But into the week, Kishmo's pretty strongly favored. I really needed the win last week against Hero.
Now, to be fair, getting you on commentary a little more is also a win for the rest of us. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to maybe have some more time to do some commentary. I've been looking for opportunities. It seems like a lot of the commentaries that I would have been able to do this week were snatched up by folks before I got the jump on them, and I've been pretty busy. I actually have an SMZ3 tournament matchup where hopefully I'll do a little bit better coming up in like 90 minutes over on the main SpeedGaming channel. So I'm excited about that tournament too. That's one where I'll be live. Sorry, Tracy, go ahead.
I was going to say, because I'm commentating that. Wasn't that in 30 minutes?
Oh, yeah, that is 30 minutes. What do you know? Hey,
well, for the sake of time, real quick, let me shift gears. I have a very important final question, at least for me, for you. Good luck tonight in your SMZ3 match. I'll be looking forward to having that on stream while I'm hanging out at the house. But let's shift gears for just a moment. And forgive me, Maniacal, because I don't know the difference, but you have recently acquired a machine, like an official original. I want to call it DDR, but I know it's not DDR. But it's one of the it's one of the dance machines, correct? And you actually have this in your house now?
If in my garage is in my house, then yes. And
I just want to tell you, everybody out there, I am looking forward to those streams because you're getting that set up stream.
Yeah, unfortunately right now the stream setup for it is I take my stream mic and my stream webcam and I position them in such a way that I hope it's not horrible and it comes through sort of okay and you can kind of see what's going on. I do need to build another PC and get a capture card for it and stuff. But I recently built a new streaming PC and also bought this big old honkin' dance machine. So that was a lot of my discretionary quarantine budget. Although I do have my stimulus check, so maybe my stimulus money.
I haven't got mine yet.
But no,
which Maniacal and Tracy and I have actually hung out at one of the DreamHack events this past summer, and we got to witness firsthand Maniacal's prowess at all things rhythm, not only with his feet but also with his hands.
Oh yeah,
has got it.
Oh, so shoot, what's the? Oh God, I'm blanking on the thing you brought with the.
Oh, I brought poppin' music.
Poppin' music, that's the one. Which
is
hard.
It's really another game from the Konami Bimani line of rhythm and music games. And unfortunately, it never saw really a wide US release. There were a couple titles that they basically released that were crappy so that it would tank in the US, and then they used that as an excuse to justify not widely releasing it. But the cabinet I got, actually, I've wanted one of these probably for 15 years, or I guess that one wasn't out 15 years ago, but it came out in 2005, 2006, like late 2005. And basically, since it's come out, I've wanted one of these, and a Miro in the Groove 2 cabinet, and I found one recently, and I was just like, I'm gonna be in my house for a few months, and I'm gonna get this thing. So now I've got that to be out of shape on, and now I have no excuses to not be in better cardio shape. So
money well spent.
Nice.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I needed to start taking better care of myself. But yeah, thank you, Kip and Tracy, for the commentary on this one. Really appreciate it. I'm sorry I wasn't able to give you the competitive RBO race that you both and that Kishmo and that everyone watching deserved. I had a nasty refusal to, like, he pogoed backwards on the first right pogo on the first fight, and then wouldn't turn, and then gave me a bad flame in the first fight, and then I botched everything about like the next 5 attempts. and so I wasn't playing very well. I knew what I needed to do. So a lot of the farm difficulties that you were watching for, Kip, the sequence I was going for was to break the reserves, have the Zebos drop health, farm them when I got to 85 with the reserves popped, farm again immediately, drop Powerbomb Crystal Flash, and that will set you up to keep farming was sort of the strat that I'd worked out yesterday on it. Definitely not optimal, but was working really well for me in the route that I ran. And I messed up the menuing 2 or 3 times on the farm, and that just completely kills it. So,
well, I feel your pain, man. I've been saying this on every RBO commentary. It's just like the sheer. I mean, I'm being serious here. The sheer amount of information that you have to think through and just kind of know in advance is a lot in this category. And even the tiniest accidental, being off by just a little bit on something can be death. That's happened. You shouldn't feel too bad. To my knowledge, I think there's not a single person in this tournament who's done an RBO race that hasn't died. So, it can happen.
Yeah, I took a death in the farm pre-Ridley last RBO race I did. So then that one I also spent like 5 minutes trying to get the X-ray climb. But I was trying to dodge doing the X-ray climb this time, Kip. But I lost my flash suit because I'm still very new at that strat, and I think must have had an inadvertent up input when I released my L button. Not sure, but it didn't work out, and so I defaulted on that X-ray scope.
Yeah, well, hey man, it was a great race. I really enjoyed it, and again, good luck tonight. I'll let you go ahead and kind of get mentally prepared, take a little break for that. And if there's anything else you'd like to say, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to Tracy to close this thing out.
Nah, that'll do. I'll see y'all in a different channel in like 20 minutes, I suppose, or I guess 30 minutes because I got a stream delay. But
and I guess
thanks GG to Kishmo, and good luck to him make it into the play-in race.
Yep. Yeah, Maniacal, I will see you in the post-game interview for the SMC3.
Oh my God, Tracy! Yeah, you got to get a break too. I'll shut up now.
That's fine. I got extra 10 minutes because stream delay. But yeah, that'll do it for us. So again, they're probably pretty close to done, but right now we do have. Actually, I can see them. I might even check and see where they're at. Oh, they are. Oh, that's not the right channel. Must be. Oh, SpeedGaming 3. Okay. They're going to be finishing up a GT Classic run over on SpeedGaming 3. No, that's us. Never mind. I don't know what channel it is, but there is another channel that is running a GT Classic run right now between Cerberoth and Gameaholic. SpeedGaming 2 has that race. Okay. And go ahead and tune into that. And of course, we do have, like I said, we have several matches still that is still going. So go ahead and tune into that. We do have several matches tomorrow. We have Gameaholic. Diddy versus Woody at 11 a.m. 4 p.m. Azo versus Mumudidi and Toasty versus Asi. And that second one being a 3-1 matchup. And then at 8 o'clock, Elmaz versus TG Derp, also a 3-1 matchup. So make sure you tune in to all of those. And since we're basically done for the day as far as Super Metroid, even though we'll move over to that other channel, I will close this out with good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you may be.